And on that note, and on that positive, wholesome note, we're going to kick off this week's edition of the Chroma Team Roundtable. Welcome to our handsome panel of Chads. We have Jedi, we have Victor, we have Osbar, we have Luke, and we have Purdue. Thank you very much for joining me today. We're going to be running around the market, giving you our hot and spicy takes and cold takes and everything in between, every type of take. Today, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, whether or not the bull market, quote unquote, is in full swing, whether or not we see a temporary relief, whether or not we're going to get a sixth red monthly candle in a row, and how our team has been navigating this range. We're going to be talking about altcoins, particularly what altcoins we should be looking at going into the new quarter. We're going to be talking about the macro. Obviously, the main element of headline risk at the moment is the situation in Iran. Trump seems to be saying varying things every day. There's a new direction, it seems, with this war. Sometimes it seems like peace is on the horizon. Other times it seems like escalation, boots on the ground, a prolonged war, and all the chaos that entails. We will discuss that, of course. And very quickly at the end, and I want all the panelists to be thinking about this, we are going to talk about Chroma's 4-year anniversary and just maybe ask each of our panelists for one or two highlights from your time in Chroma, and maybe expectations for the future. I can talk a little bit more about the expectations, the plans for the future, but I'd also like you guys to have one highlight in mind. So I'm going to go straight to you, Jedi, because we just spoke. So we're looking at Bitcoin here. We're looking at the Bitcoin chart. We are now 25 weeks since the 6th or 7th of October, whatever that all-time high was. We're very close. I think we're within a few $100s of closing our 6th red monthly candle in a row, which I think would be the first time since 2017 or 2018, something like that. First time in 8 or 9 years. How are you navigating the price action currently, and what are your expectations for BTC going into the new quarter? Are we going to see some relief? Are we going to see a temporary bottom? Are we going to see a long-term bottom? What are your thoughts?
I think it's the mixed bag. Kind of like Vic smiling here because he kind of like knows what's coming. But I think it's the mixed bag, fellas. I think it comes down to, let's look at the positives first. I think the positives are that Bitcoin has held this range really, really well. A lot better than if you had said to me 6 weeks ago, or even 8 weeks ago, that we were going to hold this range for as long as we have. I would have told you that there's no ways. I mean, I would have bet that it would have gone lower, but it hasn't, and it's showed a lot of resilience with all this fuckery that's been going on in Iran. Just as a side note, what I find really, really interesting is that despite the advancement of AI and media and all that kind of stuff, I have never experienced anything as confusing as this Iranian war. Honestly, if you had to ask me what's going on, I actually have no fucking clue. Like, if you look at like Operation Desert Storm with Iraq, if you look at everything that's happened, in my very short lifetime, I at least had a clue as to what was going on. But with this war, I really don't know what's going on. And I think that's where the difficulty around navigating, what's going on in this market at the moment. Bitcoin seems to be a little bit divorced from this insane volatility that we're seeing, obviously, in markets in general. A lot less volatility than what we would have expected. I mean, if you had said 3 months ago that we'd be in a full-blown war with Iran and that Bitcoin would be doing this, I would have told you there's no ways that Bitcoin would have been managing what's going on. So once again, just coming back to our last roundtable that I attended, I was very confused about where we were at kind of long-term around Bitcoin, and I think I'm equally as confused now. In terms of how I'm navigating it, I'm not really trading at the moment. I find that when I do open a position, I was doing really well up until about 2-3 weeks ago, and then kind of like lost the mojo, and I started posting a lot of red trades in a row, and then I just decided that I wasn't going to do anything, and it's been a lot better for my sanity and obviously my bankroll. So I'm just sitting and waiting. We are still in this range, so I think if you've got kind of like the bravery and the conviction around it, I think there is money to be made. But yeah, it's too much for me. I mean, it's kind of like I've also started a new job, so I'm just trying to settle into that. So yeah, after 7 months of essentially not working, I'm back to working again. So it's been really cool to do that, and then I've just been focusing on that.
Congrats on the new role. And yeah, completely agreed with regards to sitting on hands when you don't have an edge or when you don't see anything that satisfies your criteria for an A+ setup. That's a lesson that I'm always trying to teach our students here is not to feel like you have to be in a position constantly. It's something I spoke about on stream on Sunday night. I was with Ponzi. Ponzi is a great breakout trader. He's a great trend trader. He has no fucking clue how to trade ranges. I said I'm almost the exact opposite. I'm quite a good range trader, but I usually get left behind when price trends. We both know our strengths. We both know our weaknesses. We both know when to risk on and we both know when to risk off. And I think that's one of the essential skills when it comes to becoming a profitable trader. Osbra, can you talk us through your thoughts on BTC? We just spoke to one guy who said that he hasn't been trading a lot. I have seen you trade quite a few times over the last month. You've been killing it with some very nice rotation plays, some very nice intra range trades. Talk us through your thoughts on Bitcoin and this, what are we on now, 50 something day range. We've been in a range since the start of February, coming on 2 months. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. First, I think BTC is. I see a lot of people, and it's true, saying BTC is stronger than we could have thought. Holding the staying within the range basically, and not losing the range low. Especially when we see S&P. S&P has lost a key level that was a 6.5 thousand. And I do think it's because most sellers sold the BTC, sold the assets after October 10, something between October 10 and January, February. Simply because if you look back to the pyramid of risk, obviously crypto is being sold before the other asset classes like gold, like stocks, like especially tech stocks, because we all know that the tech stocks have been quite resilient and popular. So obviously people are very they don't they love the tech stocks and they don't want to sell it, so they sold the Bitcoin first. Now I think we have less sell pressure, obviously, and this is why Bitcoin is holding. I still do believe the low is in at 60K. Obviously, it will depend on the war in Iran, as Jedi said. So we're still dependent on the headlines and on what Trump has to say, and this will mostly dictate whatever the bottom is in or not. But until then, yeah, just play the range. I've been quite bearish every time we started to approach the range high. So the top of the range was 74. This is where I had my most successful trade of the month, shorting 74. Then now after we lost 71, we get back inside the value area. The value area was inside the range, and you play a value area just like you play a range, right? So this is also the reason why I've been bearish around 70K. So I remain bearish until we at least get the 75.5 level, which is the value area low, because as you said, you talked about rotation. So if we play the rotation, we want to see the price rotating from value area high, which is around 68.5, until the value area low, which is at 75.5. And then depending on the reaction at this level, we'll know if we're going back to revisit 60K or not. So until then, just play the range. And also, I have to be quite honest. The price can do whatever it wants. I just don't care. The only thing I care about is to be right about the bet we all made 2 weeks ago about the monthly close being red or green, and it's today. And we are right back at the monthly open, and I just want to be right about it. Anything else,
What were the
whatever.
bets on that? Do you remember who said
Everything
what?
said green. Everything said green.
Everyone said green. Okay.
Everyone
I
said
actually
green.
do remember saying green, so I'll happily take an L on that if we end up closing below. But I appreciate that,
Said
Osbert.
red.
Vic, oh,
And
sorry, go on.
also, we remember that you said 1K for the dude that would be right.
I definitely remember that. 1K in Chroma membership, right? Wasn't it? For the analyst who gets
All
it
good if
right.
I can. if I can offer like 5 or 6 memberships, I will be happy.
Awesome. Victor, want to go to you now. How have you been navigating this range, and what are your higher time frame thoughts on BTC? Obviously, we've been in this coming on a 6-month downtrend now. Do you see a bottom in sight?
Yeah, so I'm gonna look at the current range first. I'm gonna share my screen. And I am not surprised at all that we've been ranging for so long. I think when we had the roundtable just after the bottom in here on at the beginning of February, I said that I don't expect to break out of this range until April. I expect to stay in this range the whole of Q1, and that's exactly what we did with Q1 ending today. So I'm not surprised at all that we ranged for so long, because even the previous range was 74 days long. This one has only been 54 days long. So for all we know, we can keep ranging. At some point, we will have to exit the range. And if we look at the previous ranges, they all had this pattern of creating a parabola of higher lows, sweeping range highs, breaking below the parabola, somewhat holding value low, and then nuking below. Then this range, roughly the same, even though it was longer. These higher lows, sweep range highs, break the parabola, hold value low, then nuke. And what did we have right now? Well, we had this parabola, we swept range highs, we went below them, we're holding value low now. And if it plays out like the previous ranges, we should nuke pretty soon. Now, on the other hand, I agree with the guys that said that BTC is holding quite well despite the conflict in Iran. So maybe we don't nuke just yet. Maybe we see, because I had my targets, my short targets, high time frame targets here at the 80K, and we didn't quite reach that. So maybe we do another push and then we go lower. But overall, I expect price to go lower. This is my high time frame view. If we look at all the previous bear markets and bull markets, starting with this one, all the bear markets have been, as you can see, 400 days, 360 days, 370 days, like all have been around 1 year, and that would put from top to bottom, by the way. So that would put the bottom of this bear market sometime in Q4 this year. So that's when I expect a bottom, to be fair. Also, if we look at bull markets, they have been around 1050 days, then 1060, 1060. So almost 3 years, and that would put the next stop sometime in 2030. Damn, I'm gonna be 30 when BTC makes the new top, whatever. So I expect the price to keep going down, even if we look at moving averages. Even though I don't trade them on the weekly, the 50 and the 200 have been pretty consistent with how they have dictated the price action. So as long as we hold the 50, we are in a bull market. Just like we did this time, as long as we held the 50, we were in a bull market, and then when we failed below it, we were in a bear market. And the market usually bottoms when it consolidates below the 200. We saw that right here, and we saw that right here, and now we're not consolidating under the 200, but just at it. So this again confirms my bias that we will see lower prices this year. Like I said, I expect the bottom to be sometime in Q4. And related to the monthly candle, we are like really close to the monthly open. If we go to a low time frame chart, I have the line. This is the monthly open. As you can see, we're just yo-yoing around it. So I don't really care if we close this month green or red, apart from the bet that we have made between us. I don't really think it means anything if it closes green or red. If it closes green, it doesn't mean that we're gonna pump. If it closes red, it doesn't mean it's gonna dump.
Awesome. Yeah, and I really like that. I really like that high time frame chart you just showed. Maybe we can look at that later in the call. I want to go to Purdue now. Purdue, are there any levels for you that are automatic buys for BTC? Looking at the high time frame, looking at this downtrend, maybe you've already started scaling into positions, maybe you're already buying spot, but are there any levels that our members should be watching for what you consider to be an automatic buy?
Yeah, I think another range low retest is a good buy. You mostly see that these lows get revisited by time. So any early dip into April is a good buy into like 61, 62K, which is basically retracement to the 886 fib. I know Wes is also a big fan of that 886 fib level. So I think that could be a good buy. Furthermore, what I'm seeing is that like what I found interesting is that, for example, Gainsey, and I know he's not a really reliable source, but he's living in Tel Aviv, and he's basically saying that there are no missile launches anymore on Israel, and I think that that could be a good catalyst going into April, and we see some more stabilization there. So that could be bullish for BTC in the meantime. But yeah, if we get some sort of one more panic event into the 60-62K level, I think that's a good buy, and I will most probably buy that. The other one is like if you don't want to diddle in the middle, I think reclaim of the old all-time high at 69.4. But yeah, that's going to be really difficult with the new monthly open because it's going to take a lot of time before it's going to confirm that on the higher time frame, like on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, because we're going into fresh territory tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's something that traders need to be aware of. We've just had a weekly open. We have the monthly and quarterly close in like less than 8 hours. So volatility is to be expected, especially with Trump and all of his various headlines, some of which are conflicting, pretty heavily conflicting, I should add.
Yeah.
And yeah, how have you been navigating this range, Purdue? Maybe it's something you can speak to because I know that you are a trader that you do better in trending conditions, much like Ponzi trader who I spoke with on Sunday night. He said that these are the conditions for him where he just risks off and waits for the next trend to develop. How have you been navigating this range?
I mean, if I wasn't an analyst in Chroma, I just would have been on holiday for the last 2 months because, like, a day as today, I make like 3R and I make some money, but it's so tiring, man. Like, I have to be at my desk like for 8 hours straight and I make a little bit of money. And I think, yeah, is that really my type of. I like to swing and make like big amounts of money when we confirm like higher time frame breakouts or so. And these days, like in this range, scalping 1% moves or so, yeah, it's not my type of, it's not my cup of tea. I mean, you can make money, of course, but like, yeah, you're picking out some of the cherries from the tree, but yeah, basically, I just want to plant the tree and eat the whole stash, you know.
Yeah.
It's yeah, range trading is not my. I don't like it personally, but yeah, as an analyst, you have to perform, and I think April is going to be really well. If I look back at my journal, like I said earlier, April and May are usually very good trending months, and I see some bigger accounts coming back to the market, which I really appreciate and really keep my take my alpha from. So yeah, I'm pretty hopeful for April and May. So yeah.
That's awesome. And we can talk a little bit more about Q2 seasonality later in the call. Just want to get Luke's perspective now. Luke, how have you been navigating this BTC range as a lower time frame trader, as more of a scalper, and maybe someone who, I think you'd admit hasn't been, doing like 8 to 10 hours of chart time every single day. Like, how has this range been for you? Has it been easier to navigate than normal or more difficult? Because I know that something you mentioned to me on a call we had previously is that, high time frame structure and high time frame bias plays less of a part in your trading because of the low time frame intraday nature of the setups you take. So how have you found the last couple of months of range bound price action?
Yeah, I think for me, like you say, the overall macro and what the market's actually doing doesn't have too much of an effect on the way that I trade. I think it's more just a case of how locked in I am. So it doesn't really matter if conditions are really shit or really good in like a traditional sense. Like if we're like trending and we're in a bull market and everything's good, or if we're in this kind of choppy, just nasty market. I think if I can get myself locked into the market, then I trade the same regardless of what's going on. The only difference being that when we are in these choppy, shitty conditions, there's less incentive to be locked in, because there's less going on and it becomes a little bit more like mentally taxing. So yeah, that's really the only difference for me. Like it doesn't actually matter to me what the market is doing. The only thing is that if I don't see inspiration with volatility. Like what I need is some kind of volatility. If there's like a load of uncertainty around the war, I actually quite like that because it generates volatility. When things start to settle down again and there's not really any news going on, or there's not these big data releases, or there's not stuff that you really have to be watching, then I find it quite difficult to actually get into the charts and to really focus on it. So that's the only difference that it really makes for me. Doesn't matter what price is doing. It's just, yeah, what, like if I can get involved, really.
Yeah, and you've been killing it. I think we will have the monthly stats posted later today, and the quarterly stats, or maybe early tomorrow. But you came out on top for the month, so yeah, well done. You have been killing the low time frame trades. Want to go to altcoins now. And I'm gonna go to Jedi and Purdue first. And the question is a simple one. What altcoins are on your watch list going into Q2? We've kind of experienced over the last, I'm going to say basically over the last like 2 years, it's been a full cycle of these very, very quick, very short-lived narratives, none of which have had really any sticking power. So it's hard sometimes, I find, as a crypto trader, to look forward to, oh yeah, next month it's going to be this, or next quarter it's going to be this, because a lot of these narratives come and go. They're gone in like 5 days. So it's very difficult to look ahead and say, I'm excited for this narrative for this quarter or this month. But I'm curious to know, are there any assets on your watch list that you're excited about? Maybe I'll go to Jedi first. Beyond we spoke about hype, we've spoken about Tau. Are there any ones maybe that we haven't spoken about in the last couple of weeks that you're excited about?
I mean, there isn't really anything. I mean, you kind of like have a scenario where, there's this kind of privacy narrative that's still floating around. And I think that's going to land up in many ways almost like coming back in a way. But I think it's more around, what solutions do we see that can work for particularly institutions? I think the narrative right now is like, what are the institutions doing? And, where does their interest lie? Where are they looking to get value? So I think, there's obviously a lot of discussion around the Clarity Act. And, I think that's going to bring out, the Zcash idea. I mean, I see that Zcash is up 10% over the last 7 days. And I think that's something that we need to be aware of. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. What that looks like, I'm not entirely sure. But I think that's definitely a narrative that we can't ignore. And then it all comes down to obviously something that you are very bullish on, and rightfully so, is kind of like Hyperliquid. And, how does Hyperliquid kind of navigate, a bear market that is defined very much by, like everything fucking going down only, So I think it's going to land up giving us opportunity to accumulate. I think it would be something that people should seriously consider for the medium to long term. And it's simply just what it is that these guys are building, and more importantly, the attention, once again, that the institutions are actually giving Hyperliquid. I actually listened to a podcast from the roll-up this week on the only Hyperliquid DAT, which is called Hyperliquid Strategies. And these guys went to raise $300 million, and they landed up raising $888 million. And I believe they've gone about it in the right way, in that essentially they've bought around, they initially bought around 500 mil, and then they've just been DCAing in, and they now have 100 mil in cash. And you can hear, like, even though they are slightly kind of like borderline underwater, you can hear in the interview, like, he actually wants better prices at this point because he wants to deploy that 100 mil. So I think when you've got players like that, taking this thing seriously, and more importantly, they're going about it in the right way. They're not just aping at the top and, doing the kind of retarded stuff that all these other DATs were doing. I like hype. I like what they're building. I think HRP4 is completely and utterly like being ignored at the moment. I think people are too busy with their goldfish short-term trading, and they're not really paying attention to the magnitude of HIP4. I believe that HIP4
talk
could
to us about
potentially...
HIP4. Tell us what
Yeah.
it is. Explain to the audience what HIP4 is and why you're excited about it.
Okay, so we need to understand what it is that Hyperliquid have built. So it's essentially, imagine they are different stacks, HIP 1, 2, and 3. As you know, HIP 3 has been giving us real world assets in the form of oil and silver and being able to trade those markets 24/7. And I think what's really interesting about it is, what is that barrier to entry? Well, if you want to deploy HIP 3 on Hyperliquid as a stack, right? So they built it, they said come, they invited everyone. So trader XYZ allows you to trade. Essentially, they're a third party that's come in. The stack is there for you. You can plug in, and you can only plug in if you stake 500,000 hype. So essentially, you've got to commit $18 million to actually deploy the service. And they're going to do the same thing, if not a similar thing, with HIP4. HIP4 is options and prediction markets. And imagine trading prediction markets with the liquidity that Hyperliquid has to offer you, and the ability to actually trade on that entire stack, whether you want to trade options, prediction markets, pips, spot, it's all at your disposal. And this is what Hyperliquid is building right now. I mean, these guys are they are the bee's knees. They are probably the most comprehensive and most complete product, and they're not done yet. So what's Jeff doing? Jeff is a coder. He sits behind his desk and he's basically building all these layers, and he wants to continue doing that. And he wants to provide essentially a blockchain as a service, and for people to come and deploy and to commit their funds to doing so. So HIP4, I believe, is going to take on Kalshi. I believe they're going to take on Polymarket. And to be honest with you, I would much rather trade on Hyperliquid than go and trade on Polymarket and Kalshi. I see no reason why I should leave the blockchain and have to transfer when I can trade in one place. So one-stop shop. I think the future is bright for Hyperliquid. I don't think I've ever been this bullish on crypto in a very, very, very long time. I don't remember the last time I was this bullish on a product or on a stack, but I think these guys are getting it right. So there's your answer for altcoins. That's what I'm looking at the moment.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, that's totally expected. I was trying desperately to veer the conversation away from Hyperliquid, because every week we have the same question, like what are the alts that people are bullish on, and everyone's like scratching their head like, altcoins bullish. You know what? There's this coin Hyperliquid I'm pretty bullish on. And I'm the exact same, man. Anytime I'm a guest on any other podcasts or any interviews, and people are like, what altcoins are you looking at for next cycle? I'm like, motherfucker, it's like the list is like 2 altcoins. It's like Hype and ETH, and that's basically the end. I'm not even sure about ETH. But I appreciate that. I want to get Purdue's take now. Purdue, the altcoin sniper, the altcoin king. What altcoins are on your watch list as we enter Q2, and for what reason are they on your watch list?
This point, that name gets a bit sadder after the altcoins.
After a cycle that we've had with no alt season, yeah.
No, yeah. No, I have some alts on my watch list, but I think usually at the start of a new trend, it's also always very healthy that BTC dominance is going up and BTC is taking the lead. And afterwards, you see where people are spreading their risk. So ideally, we don't see any really sustained big alt seasons before BTC remains gets healthy again and remains or gets into a bull market again. But if I have to choose, I have some on my watch list for a long time already that I'm monitoring, and basically I posted all of them in fundamental analysis already. One is Sky, which is the rebrand of MakerDAO. They rebranded to Sky, and it's still like a top 100 coin. I think it's pretty volatile at the moment, as there's no volume in the market. So we saw some huge up and down swings on Sky. I can share my screen in a bit. Wait, so one of them is VVV. It's also kind of, they're building the decentralized ChatGPT. It has been up only for the past few weeks, basically. This is the chart. So you had this long accumulation range over here. It's also built by one of the OG founders that was one of the bigger BTC holders since the start of BTC. I don't know, I forgot his name.
Eric Voorhees.
Yeah, that guy, yeah. So I'm pretty bullish on this one. for now the structure doesn't look great, but the product is really good. I've been testing it, and it's basically the decentralized ChatGPT that they're building. Another one is Fed. The price action has been really lackluster, but it's still holding above the range high. It's also an AI coin, and I'm pretty bullish on AI coins still, with crypto like lacking any narrative. I think AI is always the best sector in crypto to be bullish on. So yeah, Fed, VVV. I don't know about Tao though. The narrative felt a bit
Forced.
yeah, forced indeed with the subnets and stuff. I know a lot of people made money of it, but I think once it loses 300, it can easily nuke back to 250, 240. So
All the Fed
yeah,
shilling really reminded me of Zcash. It was like the exact same, like big accounts coming out of nowhere, all coordinating this marketing
literally,
campaign.
yeah,
It
yeah,
felt
yeah.
super artificial to me.
Yeah, yeah. Zcash and Tao was basically the same group of people, probably being bought out by Barry Silbert to push it, so he could sell in his grayscale portfolio a lot of Tao. So yeah, and of course Hype. So that's my list for now: Sky, Hype, VVV, Fed. Yeah, and that's it for now.
Yeah, that makes
There was a
sense.
good
I mean,
narrative around Zero as well, but yeah, this looks like shit at the moment. They
yeah,
basically were building the thing for the NYSE, to become fully decentralized as well, with some new narrative. But yeah, the narrative died off, and yeah, then price usually follows.
yeah, 100%. I'm open question to the rest of the panel. Are there any altcoins on your watch list? Anything that you are paying attention to as we enter the new quarter? Victor, Osbra, Luke. I know that two out of three of you don't really trade altcoins that much.
Yeah,
I have
to be honest,
one more.
Go ahead, Purdue, and then
Purdue,
Osbra.
please.
If no one has one, I think still Monad. I know the people that are bullish on it, and I dove into that project like a few months ago. I still think it will have a cycle somewhere, like a hated rally that we usually see with these coins. I mean, the product is quite well, and Monad, what they're building, it is quite unique, but it has to reclaim like 25 cents, which is the ICO price. So basically, every investor that invested in the round one or round two are currently underwater because it's trading at 22 cents at the moment. But once it reclaims at 25, not 25, sorry, I mean the 0.025 level, I think it can go way higher to around 50 cents. 5 cents, sorry.
Nice. Osbra?
No, we're just gonna say same list as usual. Sol and Hype. For trolling purpose, we could have said lighter, maybe Dime as well. If you want a
Bruh.
bad list, but no, if you want if you want a real list, then no, just the same as usual. Hype, and I think Jedi said like everything you had to say about Hype, and Sol, because I still do believe every time we have an uptrend, every time we have a bullish cycle, then Sol is thriving because of all the bad reasons that bring people into crypto, fast money gains, meme coins, casino, etc., etc. So that's it for me, and I leave the floor to Vic or Luke if they have any take on
Vic
it.
and Luke, the famous
Yeah.
altcoin traders.
Yeah, I don't think I've traded any altcoins this year, certainly not. Maybe since like summer last year. But my point is that I will want to accumulate altcoins. But because I don't believe that BTC has bottomed for this bear market, there is no reason for me to starting to accumulate altcoins now. So I have the same list with ETH, Sol, BNB, and Hype, but that list I'll revisit that list sometime in Q3, Q4 this year when I'm ready to start accumulating altcoins. For now, nothing from me.
Yeah, I think
I
sorry, go on, Victor.
Now, Synergy asked if XRP was on my list. It was on my list the previous cycle, so before we had the top. Now it's not on the list anymore because I don't really believe that much that it's gonna make a new all-time high next cycle. Or at least I don't believe in it as much as I do believe in BNB, Hype, ETH on Sol.
I have a
And even those are
question,
a question.
Hollis, if you allow me.
You can, of course.
Vic, yeah, Vic, thank you. Vic, don't you think that it's the right time. Maybe I can also ask this to Perry. Don't you guys think it's the right time to accumulate altcoins considering the prices are super cheap? I think, unless you think like Vic and you do believe that the bottom is not in and that BTC is going to revisit 50, maybe even 40K. But don't you think at these prices, altcoins are quite interesting for a few, right? To be accumulated right now?
The thing is,
Sorry, go
sorry,
on,
Vic,
Purdue.
go on. You can go. You can go.
No, I just wanted to say like exactly what Fall is typed in chat right now. I do believe that BTC will lag down to below 50K, and when that happens, alts will be even cheaper. So why would I accumulate now if I can accumulate when they are cheaper? And if I start accumulating now, and let's say I buy every week, then my average price will just be higher than compared to if I start buying when BTC eventually goes sub 50K. So yeah, they might be cheap now, but if I truly believe that they will be cheaper later, the better place to just buy later. At least that's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we don't make a new bottom on BTC. Maybe this is the bottom, and then yeah, in hindsight, altcoins are cheap right now. But I'll just gonna stick to my bias for now.
Go ahead, Purdue,
Yeah.
and then I want to explain something myself. Go on.
Yeah, the thing is, with every cycle we mature, and with every cycle we see new shiny coins take the lead. Like, for example, in 2018, 2019, you had Bitcoin Cash, that was the future of finance. You had ETC, you had Doge, you had all these dino coins, how we call them at the moment. And I think the next cycle it will be the same. You have like coins that did really well. Maybe even Hyperliquid is going to be a dino coin and will never make all-time highs again because they just get replaced by newer products with less backholders. And people always will chase the new shiny coins with the newest tech. It's the same with buying an iPhone. Like you want to have that iPhone every 2 years. They make
I completely disagree. I completely disagree with the kind of like singling out something like Hyperliquid. I think you are right when it comes to all the projects that you mentioned, but I think when you look at
but you never know, you know. In a new
no, you
cycle,
never
you have
know. But let's
competitors,
look at
you have new competitors.
let's look at what those coins actually generated from an income perspective. Those things never made any money. This thing is making $900 million a year. So this is the
That's true,
difference:
though.
is that we have like real fundamentals, we have real profitability, we have a true product market fit that actually eliminates the need for anything at this point in time. Absolutely, it can change. We can get someone that can come in, compete with Hyperliquid, and then we have this race. But I think what you're doing now is that you need to distinguish between where does the value reside. This is what I also find really frustrating, and just something that maybe we can think about, and just thinking out loud from my perspective is look at Aave. Look at the product that these guys have built. I mean, this thing is incredible, yet the token price doesn't reflect the value that actually resides in what this thing actually does. And for the first time, probably in the history of this market, we see a product that actually provides a service, actually provides value. There's a whole strategy around it, and they continue to build something that everyone is pretty much using. Why is that not reflected in something like Aave? Isn't Aave supposed to be on the same principle of what we're seeing in Hype? So even though I am disagreeing with you, there is that agreement. Like, why the fuck is Aave not doing the same thing? Why is it not sitting at $1,000? Maybe it's because they don't provide enough value in terms of the token. I don't know, but I think there's lessons that need to be learned there, and as to whether someone will come in and compete with Hype in the medium to long term.
Jump in,
Yeah,
Luke.
I think it. Yeah, it really just depends on whether Hype keep innovating when it comes to that. Because I in a big way agree with Purdue, and this is why I'm not particularly interested in alts right now. Because if we're accumulating altcoins at the moment, where even if we are getting close to a bear market bottom, we're not really seeing projects that are launching and doing well. So what we need to wait for, and I think the safest thing to wait for is that a lot of the things that are going to do well when the market does turn around are the things that aren't on exchanges yet. We don't know what's going to be released. We don't know what innovation is going to happen over the next few months. Things that have launched and have dumped, they will probably be okay at some point, but they're not going to be the leaders when it comes to the next cycle. The leaders when a market turns around is generally the stuff that launches into positivity. So the timing is going to be really crucial. If you start to see projects launch and they immediately do well, then I think that's something to look at. And yeah, talking about where the hype is going to make a new all-time high or not, it really depends if competitors come along and if they can continue innovation. There is one narrative that I'm looking at that could be potentially kind of interesting, and there's nothing that I'm aware of right now. But I know last year there was a couple of projects that launched around like the sports betting thing and also like trading cards type of tokens where people could bet on the price of like footballers and teams and stuff. And with the World Cup coming up, I think that can be a potential narrative, not for tokens that already exist, but if a player can come along and if a token or a project can build on the small amount of success that this like football trading thing had last year, then we had a similar situation in the last World Cup where we had all these like fan tokens that were released, and there was that Chili's token that did really well then that was released just at the right time. So the stuff that's going to do well probably doesn't exist at the moment and isn't on our radar yet, but that's going to be the stuff that leads when the market does turn around.
Yeah, 100%. Interesting conversation happening in the chat right now about spotting the right altcoin and accumulating the right alt. I do think that selective capital is the name of the game. Selective capital allocation. One thing that this cycle has taught us, among many other lessons, is that randomly throwing darts at the dartboard and expecting to hit it big is it's gambling at the very best and just losing money at worst. I think that 2021 gave a lot of, and 2017 gave a lot of traders a lot of very bad habits, and that goes for smaller capital traders. It goes for larger capital traders. I think there are plenty of OGs in the space who haven't made a single dollar this cycle, and it's because they were rewarded last cycle for picking random dog shit altcoins. They were rewarded in 2017 for picking random dog shit altcoins, and that same behavior punished them severely this cycle, whereby you have seen this huge glut of alts, this massive dilution of capital flowing into altcoins. We've had some extremely extractive behaviors from some very big parties in the industry, and from big, I mean, we're talking about sovereign nations, we're talking about senior politicians, we're talking about major protocols in the space. And that has led to a situation where a lot of guys are doing the same things that they tried in 2021 and 2017 and losing money and getting frustrated because of it. And I do think that if there is one takeaway from this cycle, it is that 99.9% of your favorite altcoins with docs teams with amazing potential, with these intricate project runways will go to fucking zero, right? And they will never make they will only profit a very select few insiders. They will never give you the crazy returns that people chase. However, that being said, I still think that when the market bottoms, there are like 2 or 3 alts that I will look to stock up on big. And we've already spoken about hype, we've already spoken about ETH and Solana, and Victor mentioned BNB, which I also think is a fantastic shout, right? These are almost, in a sense, these are like Bitcoin. You're basically betting on the future of crypto. You're betting on the future of this industry, and for that reason, I think those plays make a lot of sense. Something I want to just quickly touch on. I'm going to jump into my own chart here. I just want to talk very quickly about the difference, because we are talking about accumulating alts here. We're talking about, where are the right levels to buy, where are the right levels to start looking for potential bottoms. And one thing I just want to draw your attention to is the difference between accumulating spot and looking for leverage swing longs, right? Because I think they're two very different things, and they're two things that you should be treating differently. I see a lot of guys, and I have been seeing a lot of guys over the last number of months get absolutely pounded by trying to lever long each dip, right? And then the market legs down again, and they get stopped out because they're running, whatever it is, 5% stop losses, 2% stop losses, 0.5% stop losses, whatever it happens to be, right? They're running these tight setups, maybe swing longs or intra-week longs, whatever it is, and they're getting stopped out. Now, that's a very big difference there's a very, very, very big difference between that and the guy who's saying, I think that BTC is undervalued now relative to what it will be valued at in the future. Therefore, I am accumulating spot. That makes a lot more sense to me, and that's something that I can get on board with a lot more. If you are taking the approach that you think BTC will be trading at a higher price in 2030 and you're happy to hold your Bitcoin until then, yes, then it might make sense to start buying spot here. You just start DCAing into the coin. You have orders set lower, you have dry powder for lower, and if we go up, then you also are willing to chase price a little bit more. That makes a lot more sense than trying to time the bottom with, 50x long, 100x long, whatever it is, trying to time the bottom with these tight stop loss plays and being like, yeah, man, if I get this, if I catch the pico bottom here, it's going to be like, a 12 or trade if we go back to the all-time high. I don't think that makes sense. That's a bit of a gamble, It's a complete gamble, right? In order to start putting on leverage, right? In order to start looking for lever longs to the upside, you're far, far better off waiting for some actual upside to take place. You're far better off to seeing something like this. And I'm not necessarily saying we get something like this, because I don't actually think we do. But if you see something like this, you see upside structure, you see breaks of structure to the upside, you see, the range breakout takes place and we start accepting above the range, then you can put on leverage up here. You can put on leverage up here, because now you're chasing a move. You have a predefined invalidation to play from, right? You're longing with the trend. The trend is your friend, right? You're not trying to knife catch a downtrend, and you're playing with the momentum instead of against it, right? So I think there's a difference, when you hear that guys are saying, you see big accounts on Twitter saying, hey, I'm deploying my capital here, I'm buying Bitcoin at this level. That doesn't mean that you go out and start looking for a lever long. That doesn't mean you start looking for swing longs to the upside on 50x leverage. That's not really what those guys are doing. In a lot of cases, they are accumulating spot, and they do not care whether price goes down another 20 or 30% because they're holding for the future. I just want to make that distinction because I've seen a lot of guys get confused about what buying spot at these levels actually means for those types of investors. Want to move on now. Just want to talk about the macro a little bit. I'm conscious of the fact we only have about 10 minutes left. I think we probably will run up. We will run slightly over time, and that's completely fine. I just want to talk about the Iran. I shared a chart in my channel a few days ago showing the 10-year bond yield. You don't necessarily have to talk about that specifically, but something that we have noticed is that Trump is coming out with these peace talks, this seemingly drawing the conflict towards some kind of resolution. These seem to come, late on a Sunday night, early on a Monday morning before U.S. market open. There are peace talks throughout the week. The market kind of looks stable, rallies a little bit, and then coming towards the end of the week, coming towards Thursday market close, Friday market close, we see this huge de-risking, as it seems that actually everything that Trump was saying was either a lie or an exaggeration, and we kind of get this little bit of chaos then over the weekend. It does seem like Trump is saying a lot of things that are purposefully manipulating the market. We know that the US has $9 trillion to pay back this year, and they want to do that as cheaply as possible. And 10-year bond yields being up around 4.5 or 5% is not going to help them with that. So what's your view on this? Is this something that crypto traders need to be aware of? Is this something our members need to be aware of? And what's your take on Trump and how he is handling this situation in the Middle East?
My take is quite obvious. I think he's doing a terrible job the way he's handling things, because he's been acting like a kid. Basically, he had a successful operation, and that's really respectful and honorable. On the military side, what he did in Venezuela, like the lightning operation, was a great success. If we strictly talk about military, I want to insist, because I'm not supportive of whatever armed conflict. But still, that was quite impressive. And then he started straight away to talk about we're going to take over Cuba, we're going to get rid of Iran, whatever. So that guy has an inflated ego after Venezuela. But I think, considering the US is the United States are the states are the like the most powerful country in the world, I was at least expecting the intelligence of the United States, especially considering they are working with Israel, to know that Iran was not like Venezuela. think probably that would have changed a few things, right? Because now he's trapped in the USA for in the Middle East for whatever reason. The Congress, it's something that is also important to talk about. Initially, the Congress didn't approve the war in Iran. So it's like literally like a kid that was like, I want to do it, so I'm gonna do it. And he bypassed the Congress. So I don't want to talk about, the conspiracy things, even though I don't like to say conspiracy because all the conspiracy theories have been
Been proven
proved
true.
right. Yeah, exactly. The last 5 years, we can talk about COVID, the vaccines, the Epstein Island, all these things. So I'm not gonna go on this field, but he is now trapped in the Middle East, and a lot of people were against it. So first the Congress, but also loud right-wing influencers or even far-right influencers like Charlie Kirk. Or once again, I want to talk about him. He was like a big support for the Trump administration, but he was also supportive of Israel until the Iran war threats. He was really against it. So basically, Trump didn't listen to anyone, even in his own own side. Um, he just bypassed everything. And now the situation is we have inflation going up again because of oil prices, gasoline prices.
Yes.
I shared it in the chat at the beginning of the stream. We crossed like the $4 mark for the first time since August 2022 in the USA. The last CPI and PCE reports were high. The labor market is getting more fragile. So the situation is dramatic. And on the political side, one of the few things that were in Trump's administration program as the new president of the United States was to reduce taxes or even to cut taxes. And he does need, this is why he's been like hammering Powell so many times about interest rates. He needs rates to be low to
Exactly.
apply his fiscal policy, right? But with the yields being so high, if you look at the US 10 years yield, 30 years yield, he needs them to be as low as possible, and they just skyrocketed. And this is why he's now, to be honest, it's pathetic to see this from the United States, to see a president being forced to lie, to try to calm the market, to calm the reaction on oil prices, on yields, on stock prices. He even said something like it's Joe Biden's market, like a few days ago.
Yeah.
After he said, "Hey, look, this is Trump's market. Everything's going up, and now that everything is going down, like this is Biden's market, bro. Move on. Like Biden is not the president of the United States, and it's been almost 2 years, right? And every time something's going bad, yeah, it's other people's fault. So now he's trapped, and it's something I said 2 weeks ago. He is framed. He needs to get out. The problem is he has one ally, Israel, that doesn't want to stop the war. And unless certain conditions are met, and we know the conditions, and Iran doesn't agree with these conditions. Iran wants the nuclear weapon. They want to keep their researches on it. Israel doesn't want. The USA doesn't want. The thing is, we see that it's not as easy as Trump thought it would be to stop Iran from doing the research on the nuclear weapon, or to even stop keeping the Strait of Hormuz closed. And now he's trying. If you looked at Twitter today, he's been spamming communication about Hormuz. Yeah, it's going to open. Trust me, guys. You can. The ships can go through the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, sure. Like, tell me one country that would be like, oh, okay, thank you, Trump. You've been so honest the last couple months. I'm gonna send my boat through the Strait of Hormuz. No risk at all because Trump said it. When we know that a few weeks ago they discovered mines. Iran also said they would just nuke every single boat that would try to go through it. So it is just desperate. And yeah, my take on it is that it's a very very sad like comedy that we are watching right now. and he needs to stop it very, very quickly. Otherwise, things will be really bad for the global economy. First for the US, but then obviously as a cascade for the global economy, and also for the geopolitics, because it's also something that it's not under the spotlight right now. But we saw some countries in Europe, like Italy today, France as well, Spain. So Spain was like, "Fuck off, man." That's crazy. Like a lot of NATO countries are now like saying no to Trump. So I think it's getting really fragilized, and it's the position of the United States hegemony that is getting like impacted. And now like countries are learning to say no, Trump, fuck you, you know, and that's like a turning point, because if you look at a year ago with the tariff, every time Trump was saying something, the other countries were like, "Oh, okay, sorry, we're gonna do some efforts." And now we're like going to the opposite. So it will also have impacts. And he said something like this yesterday. Yeah, the countries that said no to help us in the Middle East will face the consequences, or something like this. So we have now the armed conflict, but then we'll have the geopolitical consequences right after. So yeah, it was very unnecessary war, and with I don't know what positive impacts it has. Even for the USA, I don't see where are the benefits from the war.
Yeah, completely agree. I would love to stay and talk a little bit more about Trump, but I want to move on to the last topic today. We're going to run slightly over time. And yes, it is Chroma's 4-year birthday tomorrow. So this week we turn 4. Yes, we have survived the ups and downs of bull market, bear market, drama, lore, new team members, old team members. We've had it all. We've experienced it all, and we're still here, alive and kicking, thriving. So yeah, happy days. Very, very proud moment, very surreal moment, as I'm sure it is for many of the team. Some guys have been here longer than others, but I've been here since the very beginning. I've seen it all. I've experienced it all. And as I said at the start of the stream, I'm getting grays in my beard, and I can probably count them all. I can probably count the ones that are because of Chroma, but yeah, it's a labor of love, right? Wouldn't do it if we didn't enjoy it. But yeah, I want to just quickly whip around the panel here and get people's thoughts. I want to hear just a highlight from all of the panel, a quick highlight of your time in Chroma. Maybe you guys can I don't know, share a quick anecdote or just a high point of your time in the server. I'm going to go to Luke first. Luke, you're the I don't want to say youngest. You're the newest member of the team, and you've only been here. Yeah, kind of. We're going on in like 6 months now. But yeah, how have you found it, and what have the highlights been?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's been fantastic. I think it's enabled me to just really focus on what I'm good at, which is just being able to trade, and being able to focus on trading. I think my trading has improved as well. So you guys know I'd spent a long time kind of doing the same thing, like having my same style, and a lot of the trading that I was doing for, again, the last 4 or 5 years, since I've been doing this, has been kind of the same as since I started, but getting fresh perspectives, getting a new community, and just seeing new ideas has really helped myself a lot. I've been loving the tracker. I've been loving the how interactive everything is here. So yeah, for myself, it's brought just a massive enjoyment back to trading, trading with new people, new ideas, new things that I can add to my trades, fresh perspective, but also seeing that, like, old faces, people that I've known for many years, coming over into Chroma and really enjoying their experience here has been brilliant. I see people on the call here now that I've known for like the 4 years that Chroma's been around, and are here in Chroma now. So for me, that's fantastic. And I'm looking forward to continuing this, helping to grow Chroma, helping to grow myself as a trader, and hopefully helping everyone that's in the chat to also become better traders and to find value within the community here, because this is this is what I really enjoy doing. I wouldn't be doing any of this if I didn't enjoy it. I could quite easily just sit at a computer on my own, take a few trades, and that be it, really. But I think the enjoyment's a massive part of it, and yeah, I'm very happy to be here and to be trading alongside you guys.
That's awesome. Fun fact, a lore dump for anyone who's interested. My first ever like crypto call after I went full time was to be I don't know, to join Toros, to be like an analyst, I guess, in your server, something like that. That was my very first, after I went full time. That was literally the day after I went full time trading, and that was back in 2022. That's a long time ago. So yeah, how far we have come, how far we have fallen. Am I right? Appreciate that, Luke. And yeah, hopefully the start
I mean,
go on.
Yeah, we had a conversation and you were asking about like, oh, what's a good streaming setup? Like what kind of stuff I'm thinking of starting to do live streaming. And I'm like, yeah, like why don't you do some live streaming over in Taurus? And you're like, I think no, I think I'm gonna start. I'm doing something myself. I've got a little thing in the works here already. And then yeah, look where a like just a server where they can just start sharing it suddenly becomes successful. Like it's hard work. It's like it takes up you and that are like really taking everything that you say, and this is not only like a home for yourself, like where you're sharing ideas and where the whole team is sharing ideas, it's also a home for everyone else in the server. So yeah, I know from experience like how difficult that is and how mentally challenging that is. So to be here and still be like going strong over like after 4 years is like a credit to yourself and a credit to the team.
Thank you, Luke. And yeah, hopefully you're going to be with us for a long time more and going to be able to add a lot more value to what we're building here together. Appreciate you, Luke. The next youngest member, the next newest member, Jedi, going to go to you now. What is one of your highlights from your time in the server? I think you've been on the contributor team for about 5-6 months now. So hopefully you have a rich basket of highlights to choose from.
Yeah, I'd like to first say congratulations for 4-year anniversary. It's, being a business in crypto is never easy. The majority of businesses that come into the space do not make money and they don't last. Whereas Chroma not only has lasted and not only makes a little bit of money to keep everyone pretty much happy, it also thrives. And so congrats on that. It's, I think from my perspective, it's something to be really proud of. And, a big part of crypto for me has always been about community. I mean, I started in the space and the first thing that I sought out was community. And that's in many ways, that's how, Blockmates became a reality for me and how we built that business. It was very much part and parcel around community. And I think the highlight for me, like the big highlight is really the sense of community and the value that people actually place in each other. I was very fortunate that, I had friendships in Tim and with Osbra, and they were like, they saw that I was kind of like at a loose end when I left Blockmates, and they were like, okay, we need to find this guy a home. And then obviously the rest is history. You guys welcomed me, and yeah, that's been a big highlight for me. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, I think it never stops, I think the fact that there is this camaraderie and there is, even though that we are in a very PvP environment and things are, at the end of the day, it is hardcore, and there are no prisoners. It's good to know that there are people here that can actually give you the insights, so community, friendships, and the other things are accountability and how that allows you to actually be better and to step up and to just try and get things done. I think when you've got that, you don't kind of like land up staring at charts and kind of losing your mind. So thanks for that.
That's awesome, Jedi. I appreciate all your contributions since joining. Next, next most recent team member to join was Osbra. Osbra, of course, joined us when we merged with CRG back in the summer last year. I don't remember the exact month. I think it might have been June or July. Maybe you remember off July. Yeah, there you go. How has your experience been? How has it been integrating into the Chroma community, and have there been any highlights?
Awesome. It's been awesome since the very beginning. Especially to feel the love from the community, which is great. We have lot of very good interactions during the streams, in the crypto chat, during the roundtables, all these things. Yeah, highlight meeting follies, but it happened before the merge, so that was even before joining Chroma.
It did, yes. I won you over with my smooth talk. That was it.
Yeah, exactly. But I can have a word for you. Like it's such a pleasure to work with such a team leader. Very, very good. Like very serious, professional, smart. And the next thing, and it's probably like I would say it's equal with the community. Because once again, I want to insist. I love the way we interact with the community. We have all the conversations about crypto, about the market, but also outside of the market. There are like a few members I played video games with. Shout out my boy Solly right here in the chat, but also with AT, with Vic. We played some WoW, we played some League. So that's really fun. But the most important is the biggest highlight is the team. For me, because you guys are all genuine people, smart people, but also the realest I've met in the industry, and that's the most important. Because trust me, I've been disappointed so many times by people in this industry. So I'm really happy to be surrounded by what about the board of Crypto Chat, with represented by Wes here in the chat. I was almost about to forget. So yeah, shout out to everyone. And for me, these are the biggest highlights. But I could continue and say one thing that is good is that despite what I could have thought before joining, I'm also constantly learning, which is something great. But that's tied to being surrounded by such people, because I see it's easier to see where your flaws are and what you can improve, and you can also get inspired by other people, which is great. So thank you once again, and happy birthday, Chroma.
That's awesome, Oscar. Appreciate all the hard work you've done, and appreciate the trust you had in, because it was a big risk. It was a big gamble. I remember talking to you at the time when you were bringing in the CRG family into Chroma. It was like a big unknown, and there was obviously a little bit of trepidation. So yeah, happy it all worked out, and happy you had that trust. Boys, we have a very special guest joining us, the one, the only Shahir. Shahir, for those of you who don't know, Shahir is like one of our oldest members. He joined Chroma, I think, month 1 or month 2 back in 2022. He then went on to become one of our moderators, which he still is to this day, although his full-time job is with WAP. So he has kind of taken a little bit of a backseat with the moderating stuff, with the day-to-day moderating at least. So Shahir, welcome to the 4-year birthday celebration. And do you have any highlights in your basically 4 years in Chroma?
Honestly, guys, Chroma has been a game changer for me, and I don't even know where to begin. Like, I started in month 2, I believe.
I think so,
But
yeah.
then yeah, and then a lot of shit happened in life, and then I got an opportunity in WAP, and the main reason I got that opportunity was because of Chroma, because Chroma was WAP's client, and then they hired me, and that is how I sort of changed my life around, honestly. There was quite a lot of ups and downs where and one thing I would like to share is that I started an NFT channel that went really, really bad, and I sort of dragged Chroma down into it as well. Yeah, and that went pretty bad. And honestly, if I would be on Follis's place, I would sort of fire me at that spot because they rugged. and my
I
reputation
didn't
went
understand
downward.
NFTs enough to fire you at the time. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, the whole team got rugged so bad. But then, yeah, I mean, I started building again, and with Chroma, I mean, I got a lot of opportunities because of Chroma as well. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty much my story.
That's awesome, Shahir. Yeah, appreciate all the hard work you've done over the last 4 years, and yeah, don't worry about that
Yep.
NFT thing. That's old history. I've already wiped it from my memory. It's been the Men in Black thing. Don't worry about that. But yeah, appreciate all the hard work you've done, and I'm so happy to hear that you're killing it in WAP and that you've been such a success story.
I appreciate you, everyone.
This is what happens, guys, when you put in the work on the mod team in Chroma is you get six-figure salaries from WAP. They just come your way through osmosis, right?
Where are you?
Appreciate you, Shahir. Thanks so much, man. And so cool to hear from one of the true OGs of the server, a guy who's been around since month 2, basically 4 years now. The next up is Purdue, I think. Purdue, who was one of our talent team, like going back to like 2023, and then joined the analyst team, I believe, in January
2023.
yeah, I think he joined the analyst team in January 2024. You might correct me on that one. But I think it was either late 23 or early 2024, and you've been on the analyst team now for 2 years with a minor exception along the way. How has your time been in Chroma, and have you any highlights to speak of?
Man, I getting goosebumps like being there for so long already. It feels kind of surreal, man. Yeah, I came into crypto as a newbie, of course, like everyone else. And along the ride, you meet people, and eventually you find a home like Chroma. And yeah, it's been. I'm almost getting emotional. Wow, it's crazy. Yeah, it's been a wild ride, and yeah, it has been so good being on the team for so long. Meeting you in real life in Spain, I met most of the guys in Singapore. Met most of the guys here in Amsterdam when we had the boat trip. Yeah, and I couldn't wish for anything better. Like with all the big brains in the server, also with Benny, with older team members that are not here anymore yet. We had a wild ride. Lots of history is made already in the server. We had super nice team meetings, like I said, in Spain and in Amsterdam, and also in Singapore. I had lots of fun meeting Monk as well, which I now see as a nice buddy. Yeah, it has been really good. And like every part in life, it's full of ups and downs, and that's also with trading. You get to know yourself really well, and trading in general learned me a lot. But also having a team with the motivation of like going 100% every month in, every month out. We have the team meeting every 2 weeks where we talk with each other, and we have the roundtables every week, and it's so motivating to keep doing what we're doing. And it's yeah, life is full of surprises, and I'm happy that I can share all these surprises with you guys, really.
That's awesome, Purdue. Appreciate that. And yeah, here's to many more team meetups in the future. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that we're still fortunate enough to be able to do those later this year and indeed in years to come. Next one up is Victor. Victor, who has been around. I think you joined the first summer, Victor.
I
On
checked.
the
It was
yeah
July 2022, so
for the
in three
first
months
summer.
from now. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So you've been here almost as long as myself. So I'm presuming you have lots of highlights, but too many to
Oh
choose
yeah.
from.
Yeah, exactly. And I appreciate the fact that you've left me last so that I don't speak here for 10 minutes. Oh man, where do I start? I think the best memory that I have with Chroma is, so when I joined Chroma, I was still working a part-time job as an engineer, and I vividly remember the day when I got offered the talent position in Chroma. I was just driving to work, and I was sitting in the parking lot. I saw the message come in while I was driving, but then I parked my car in the parking lot and I read the message, and suddenly the realization came in that I don't have to work this corporate job or corporate jobs my entire life. I can do something with this opportunity. I can change my life. And I kid you not, I might sound like a pussy, but I started crying in my car just before I went into my job. So that was the moment that I realized that this can be something that I can pursue as a career. And basically Chroma changed my life because of that, because otherwise now I'd be doing some boring corporate job and hating my life probably. So I'm really really grateful for everything that Chroma has offered me. And of course, I can also mention the Chroma meetups, and meeting anyone in real life is always a highlight because you've built such an amazing team of kind people that are a joy to be around. So I'm always looking forward to the next time that I'm meeting one of you guys. And yeah, basically it's been an amazing almost 4 years for me, an amazing 4 years for Chroma. And for anyone that's in here right now, remember that Chroma started in the last bear market. I started learning in the last bear market, and look where we all are right now. So if you're in here right now, stick around, and you'll be amazed where you'll be in 4 years from now. So yeah, thanks a lot for this, for everything that you've built, and happy birthday, Chroma.
It was a team effort. Nothing was built on my lonesome. It was a team effort. But yeah, appreciate all the hard work over the last whatever it was, 3 years, 9 months, or 3 years and how many months. So yeah, and here's to the next 3 years and however many months. We just had Jay jump on. Jay, talk us through your time in Chroma. Talk us through the highlights, the ups, the downs, anything that springs to mind.
Does my mic even work? It does. Okay. Hello, hello. Doing good. Does this work? I'm on like this weirdo mic. I'm sorry if it
Yes,
sucks.
very much.
Instantly eCorp Ali lore. Come on, that's so recent. We've been here for like 3 years in the bit already as well. But yeah, the same as Vic said, I joined during peak bear market where it was literally just Michael Jordan on those pumps. That's all I saw when I joined. I've learned a lot since. I've had a lot of opportunities. I've also traveled along with the boys, which has been amazing both times. I'm not driving or walking. No, working the other times. um, but yeah, it's just been an amazing 3 and something years. I think 3.5 now. I've joined the team for like 2.5. I joined in January of 24, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, also I've upgraded from a shitty ass room to my own little place, which is a true story. True. All it was all actually thankful to Chroma. That was all. I wouldn't have been able to do that move without the Chroma backing, to be honest. Uh, so yeah, all thankful for that, and for the current status of my life, it's been provided. I've worked my ass off. Trading has not been the best of times, but also Chroma has helped me a lot. I've met a lot of good people, and I think that will be continue to be the case. Bear market's the bear market shit. I think we've, over half at least. So I think we are on the tail end of it, and we'll have some fun times in the next year or two. At least when the orange guy gets out. Shout out to the Gens Arena. Yeah, I know. But yeah, man, we keep vibing. That's kind of the goal.
That's
and the
awesome,
team
Jay.
has done a lot, especially the last few months. Team has done a lot within these bad times per se.
Constantly building. Yeah, and that's a nice segue into the last part. Thank you for that, Jay. I really appreciate the hard work that you've done and the effort you've put in to the team and to the server over the last couple of years. On to bigger and better things next quarter, and indeed for the rest of the year. So yeah, that kind of brings me to me, and I'm not going to labor here because I appreciate we've kind of ran quite a bit over time, which is fine. Fine, these 4-year anniversaries don't come around all the time. Yeah, I just want to say I'm immensely proud of all the work that we've done. Incredibly happy with how things have turned out. There were ups and downs, like many low points with growing this business, growing this community, where I was really like, what the fuck are we doing? And, what's the point in all this? And, but thankfully those were few and far between, and the positives have vastly outweighed the negatives. And it's been a wild ride. It's been something that, I can really look at with incredible joy and pride in my heart, and really say like we've given it a great go these last few years, and on to bigger and better things over the next 4 years, hopefully. And with that in mind, I just want to give you a quick a quick 1 minute kind of whistle stop tour on what the plan is going forward. We've had 4 years down. The server is unrecognizable now compared to what it was even last year. I mean, never mind 4 years ago. But yeah, I mean, like, obviously you guys see that we're building every day. Like, every month we have new features in the server. We have new channels. We just launched the community alpha channel. We had, the trading competition got a revamp. We have new partnerships. We're constantly adding. We're constantly trying to refine the product and the service that we offer. We're trying to make sure that you guys feel like you're getting the absolute best bang for your buck. And yeah, that was always the goal. The goal with Chroma was always to become the best trading community in the space. Trading communities and paid groups have a horrible reputation in crypto, and it's so well deserved, because the vast majority of them are empty of value. They don't provide anything. They extract, and they leave traders worse off after they joined. And that's always, we try and buck that trend. We try and add more value than people expect, and we always try and fight against that preconception. So with that in mind, I mean, the two, as I've said, the two big pillars on which Chroma are founded are always, in terms of the service we provide, it's education and trades, right? So we're trying to trade alongside you guys, and we're trying to show you guys what we're doing when it comes to analysis, execution, looking for setups, entry, exit, TP, all the various components of a trade. And that's why we use the tracker. People look at the tracker and say, oh yeah, it's great, I can just copy trade, but that's not the value of the tracker. The tracker is to show you exactly what we're doing in as much of a transparent way as possible, and to share results at the end of each period and show you guys what is possible with good risk management, with clear and defined setups, and with traders who actually know what they're doing. That's the true value of what we're doing. And thankfully, I mean, I don't mind sharing this with you guys, but the trading the last month has just been fantastic. And huge shout out to the team, because let me just share it here in the chat. The trade, yeah, I just shared the monthly results from the trading team in the chat, and it's just, yeah, really phenomenal work from the trading team. So GG there. And I mean, it's so gratifying when I see that side of the server purring and that side of the server operating at such a high standard, because it means then that I can really focus next quarter on the other side of the server, which is trading education. And I'm really excited to give you guys the next update on the trading syllabus. We are aiming to launch next quarter. That is going to be my fucking goal next quarter. And I know it's been pushed a few months already, but you can't rush greatness, and I think that this is what this new trading syllabus is going to be when it launches. It's going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you all, and that is the goal for next quarter. That is the goal for this year, is that at the end of this year, we will have not just the best trading team in crypto, right? And we're going to show you the setups, the analysis, the execution, all the things that go into being a successful trader, but we're also going to have the best trading education, right? So we're going to give you it's literally the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s of becoming a profitable trader. And if you're already profitable, if you're already killing it, we're going to give you even more in-depth look at, how we trade, little nuances maybe that you can add to your own trading schematic and build out your own system. And that's it, guys. I'm not going to labor it any longer there. Incredibly proud of the work that we've put in over the last few years. On to the next 4 years. It's fucking bigger and better things. We're surviving, we're thriving, we're killing it even when market conditions are down. I'm just really excited to take the next step of this journey with y'all. And on that note, I'm going to call it there. Big love to all of you. Appreciate the panel for joining us today. We talked a little bit about the markets, but of course, yeah, the highlight was the last 30 minutes or so talking about Chroma and how far we've come and how far we still have yet to go. But appreciate you all. And yeah, we will see you next week back here at the same time for next week's edition of the Chroma Team Roundtable. I want to thank Purdue, Osbra, we had Victor, we had Jedi, we had Luke. Am I missing anyone? We also had Shahir and Jay join us to give their insights into how it's been in Chroma, and I see the chat blowing up. Love to see it, boys. Love to see it. Appreciate you all for joining and for giving us an hour and a half of your time. We will see you next week. And yeah, here's to the next 4 years, boys. Big love. Bye-bye.